Lord help me, I'm supposed to be on vacation this week, but instead I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes. I'm going to go back to being on vacation. I'm going to Spirit Halloween. Anyway, so Charlie Kirk. Let's take a moment to discuss, shall we? So basically, I think the thing that is most interesting to me personally about Charlie Kirk having just been murdered. Don't go looking for the video, by the way. I have yet to see the video. I've seen a screenshot, and obviously, it is a scary thing. And I guess I mostly want to focus on that element of so I've been afraid of public speaking for 9 years, because the weekend of the Pulse shooting was it corresponded with a YouTuber who was a singer. Her name was Christina Grimmie, and she was shot and killed at an event, like a meet and greet after a concert, the same weekend of the Pulse shooting. So I don't actually know if the video is still up on my channel because I have deleted some older videos on my channel recently, but um, I made a video at the time, and it was very scary to me as a person who, I don't know if y'all know that I started out my activism in the atheist community, which that kind of makes sense now why I'm working with the Line, taking calls and stuff at Q&A Line, because that's an atheist oriented project. So I have given talks in public. I gave a talk at an event when I was 19. I have been on panels at events. I have moderated panels at events, and I have announced beforehand where I am going to be. Now, that was 10 years ago. But yeah, I used to do that kind of stuff, and we're talking about it now more with the Line, where we have our online LineCon thing that we do for patrons, but we're also talking about having a semi-official presence at conventions, and some other people who are more situated for it on our network do that. Like Arden, who is my co-host on the Transatlantic Call-In show and the producer for that show most of the time, she gave a talk not too long ago about transphobia in the secular community, and she gave that talk at an in-person event. Y'all know, obviously, I'm very COVID conscious, so that raises a barrier to me going to events now. But even then, I would be worried about going to an event like that. I would be worried about telling people where I'm going to be beforehand. If I go to an event, let's say, I went to the Renaissance Festival this year, and typically I will not say when I'm going. I'll say after, or I'm going vaguely soon, or vaguely, this weekend, or I won't say what time or anything, because I don't want to be hurt by someone, and that could happen anyway. There are going to be dedicated stalkers who will seek out that information or whatever, and I'm not trying to say oh, I'm all high and mighty on myself that someone would want to stalk me, but that why did someone stalk Christina Grimmie? Why did someone show up at her event? She wasn't even a political commentator. She was just a female who was a singer. As far as I could tell at the time when I was doing research, I did not see anything that would suggest that she would have attracted that type of attention. Whereas Charlie Kirk, he is provocative, was, I guess. So, and I'm not saying he deserved it or anything. I'm just trying to indicate what kind of attention I would imagine he would engender by his presence there, and that he does these all the time. Multiple different of these guys. Ben Shapiro does these kind of appearing at an event, usually a college campus, to speak or debate, and that these people obviously are being bankrolled in a way where they can show up to these things with security, which is a benefit that not everybody else has. I remember back in the day with Anita Sarkeesian and Rebecca Watson, which shout out to Rebecca Watson. I've been watching her content again lately. Even Anita Sarkeesian is still making content on Nebula, but Anita and Rebecca would try to show up to events, and they would get bomb threats called in, and then the security would say well, we can't, the campus would say well, we can't increase our security, you have to hire your own security. And so Rebecca Watson and Anita Sarkeesian stopped doing those kind of events because bomb threats were being called in. And like they wouldn't do metal detectors, and like they were literally worried about getting shot. And I don't think that that was a misplaced concern, especially given everything that was happening at the time. And like all of those things are just getting more and more polarizing and more intense. And like gun violence toward prominent figures seems to be on the rise, like just based on these couple of like high profile, like there was 2 Minnesota senators were shot and killed in their homes, as well as at least one of them, like their husband and their dog also. Like political assassinations are a thing that are happening now, a thing that we have to be concerned about. And so here's where I'm kind of drawing toward here. I'm really curious if this is going to have any impact on the prevalence of right-wing commentators and influencers showing up to these college campuses to do these events, in the same way that like Rebecca Watson and Anita Sarkeesian, sorry, my enunciation fell apart there. Anita and Rebecca were unable to continue doing college events. They were simply unable to continue. So are we going to see something like that from like Ben Shapiro? Is Ben Shapiro going to be like, yeah, it's not safe for me to show up? And like this also harkens back similarly to when Richard Spencer got punched in the face. It's like it did not require gun violence to cause Richard Spencer to start doing online Zoom panels instead of showing up out in public. So yeah, I guess like that's kind of what I wanted to communicate, or what I'm interested in regarding this topic. You know, obviously like the prevalence of gun violence in this country is like terrifying and like not a good thing generally. It definitely doesn't make me feel less like I should be able to handle a firearm. Like, you know, it definitely causes a feeling of like, well, if everybody else has a gun, then I need to make sure I'm trained to be able to handle one. But yeah, the ultimate thing that I'm curious to see is, are we now going to start to see a culture of fear among right-wing influencers? And what are they going to do with that? You know, are they going to just hire more security? Are they going to go, we will not be, booed off the stage. We will not be frightened away. We're just going to have way more armed security with us. Or are they going to stop coming to these events entirely? Or are they going to use this event to foment, and I believe that they kind of already are doing this, like what with the shooting last week that was done by a detransitioner, we definitely did see an increase of rhetoric against trans people. That trans people, oh, they're so crazy, they should not have guns, we should put them in asylums or whatever. And then I am seeing that this is kind of representing a greater call to disarm the left in general from these right-wingers who are influencers. But I want you all to be aware and be clear on the fact that there's a relationship. I wish I had both of my hands so that I could do a dovetail with my hands. But there is a relationship between being a politician and being an influencer. These right-wing influencers, it seems as though when they start calling for something, we typically see a political motivation, like a political activation afterwards. You know, that the DOJ started looking into taking away gun rights from trans Americans right after the shooting, like right after all those calls for removing guns from trans people. And also keeping in mind that these politicians are also like, you know, branching into the influencer sphere, because that is how they access public, like that's how they access the public. We don't go to town halls the same way as we used to, or like whatever, because everything is so decentralized. We end up seeing a lot of this on the internet. So it is kind of required almost for a politician who wants to reach out to their constituents to be social media savvy, or at least have someone on their team that is social media savvy. Gavin Newsom went on Charlie Kirk's podcast, and like, has Gavin Newsom started his own podcast now? My point is that the line is blurry between a politician and an influencer, and between like these two fields of interest. So, and like obviously I'm a formerly political streamer, like I'm talking about this now because I want to know what it's going to be like when right-wingers feel the way that I do about showing up to a public appearance, where like I probably wouldn't want to nowadays, or I wouldn't want to say where I was going. So anyway, I don't know that I have a lot else to add about it. I just wanted to get some thoughts out there and see what you all think. So let me know, I guess. And yeah, let's. I am unable to predict events anymore. It turns out I have no idea what's going to happen next. So good luck, everybody. Bye.